All right, hello and welcome back to the Filmageddon Vodcast, episode 9 of the Filmageddon Vodcast with me, Frank Soldado, aka the Quizmaster, and over there we've got Adam Grundy. How's it going, Adam?
It's fine, Frank. I'm still alive. Barely. Gone mad. Completely gone mad this week.
Yep.
I feel like I just don't feel very good, if I'm honest. But how are you?
I feel similar. I think in that it's all really now starting to get to me. I think it's been long enough, and it's not been very long at all when you think about it. Especially when you hear projections on how long this can all go for. But it's all right. Stepping outside once in a while. Though this week the weather here is terrible. It's raining. I'm looking out the window at a very grey sky, which is probably good for the spread of the virus, really, because everyone's gonna stay inside for once. It's great. Like normally, the past couple of weeks, all I could hear during the day is like the kids from next door in the garden and this woman on the other side doing like workouts and stuff, and I'm like, shut up.
Well, no. What you're not telling everybody, Frank, is that you actually live in a detached house in the middle of the forest.
That's true,
And
it's
you
very
can just hear
strange.
these noises. It's just like, and the kids are working out with the woman, and they're screaming. They're screaming.
I can hear them scream when I sleep at night. I wish that'd be the perfect situation for right now, like a living situation, and I just wish I could do it. But no, it's been all right, and we're hoping that obviously with the next few weeks to come, there's going to be less restrictions on movement and stuff. Who knows if that will happen? I mean, probably not. It's probably not for the best, but anyway, I mean, I'm already rambling and we haven't even started the show yet. So hey guys, let's quickly remind everybody that we have a film quiz coming up tomorrow, Wednesday, the Filmageddon Weekly Rewind Film Quiz number 2. And that's going to be over on twitch.tv/Filmageddon. Make sure you follow us. Or if you've got an Amazon Prime membership, you can subscribe to us for free. No one's going to do that, but you can. And then you can use our custom emotes or emotes. I don't know why I say emotes. Like, it's the year 2000. But and we made some good ones, I think. Inspiration from Adam, execution by me combined. We've got some really sexy ones, I think.
Yes, it was 2 tips touching. Yeah, I can't believe how quick you mocked them up. I think we said it on one of these. In fact, I was like, we should just have blah, blah, blah and this. And then I went and I made something to eat. And then I checked my phone and Frank had made them. And then a week later, for some reason, they were accepted. So they are stupid. They are very stupid. It's nonsensical. And I think we did put them up this week. And someone was like, I like the actor who we took a picture of. Which, hey, you're in the wrong neighborhood. We don't. But I mean, I don't hate him as a person. I don't know him as a person. Maybe I will.
He seems like he's quite hateable as a person. I mean, anyone who is an actor that also thinks they're a musician already gets a couple of negative marks in my book.
Unless it's Bruce Willis. Like Bruce Willis.
I own his record.
Get emotional. Do you?
Because I think I saw it in a charity shop for like £1 once, and I was like, I need to have Under the Boardwalk by Bruce Willis.
But then the other week when we did it at the weekend, we did a little live stream of us playing the Jurassic Park game on the SNES, the Super Nintendo,
SNES,
as it's also called, SNES, whatever. And I suggested Ocean, who made the game. They also made a Hudson Hawk game, and you were like, oh, what? I never even watched Hudson Hawk. So you know what? As someone who actually loves Bruce Willis's music, you've got another world of like untapped possibilities to get involved with. So I wish I was in your shoes. I wish I'd never seen Hudson Hawk, for both the film, but also the enjoyable soundtrack.
Just to get that first bit of shock and awe that listening to him on film. Did they make that film as a vehicle for his music career?
The evidence. We're not conspiracies. I think 5G created Bruce Willis. That's why he has no hair, because it all fell out because of the phone signals. And then eventually the conspiracy worked its way down to just being Hudson Hawk being a vehicle for him. And in that film, he uses a skateboard as a vehicle to slide through a bank.
This
I
this
believe
film
it's a
sounds
bank.
like it's got everything. If I'm honest,
It has. It's got something.
well, hey, people should go and watch our stream of Jurassic Park. It was, well, the stream was fun. I think the game was terrible and
Awful.
yeah, pretty bad. It was a nice test of the waters to get back into the straight to video game thing. But I think this upcoming weekend we might do it again, and there'll actually be both of us there, and maybe playing a game that is actually worth it. I don't know. We'll have to see.
We'll see. We'll see. You know, there are games, there's ways and stuff. I'd love it to keep going to the point where we actually play. Like, do you ever play the NES version of Cluedo?
No.
It's fucking class. Like me and my girlfriend play that sometimes. Just as just instead of having the game board out, because the game board I've got is a knockoff from China, so it was like missing like 3 characters, and like the mat was actually just like vinyl. Like, how are we ever gonna use this? It was like it wasn't like a board. It wasn't like a board to place out. It was like
you unrolled it.
Yeah, you basically unroll this symbiote and just leave it there, and then it's like any kind of heat would just like boil the mat up. Which, if you're in 35 degrees heat, yeah, certainly it cares a lot.
Well, you know what, Adam, we have to push on. We have to get right to it because now the greatest format on the internet that arrived last week. People are begging for more. They're asking it. They need it. It is our news. This is plucked from the headlines. Right, that is right, ladies and gentlemen. This is our news segment for the week. It's plucked from the headlines, direct from the headlines of Hollywood, television, film, video games, all forms of entertainment. Here we are. This is really uncomfortable. It's pinching my nose because I left my headphones on. I'm going to go to the first story, which is coming from Slash Film. Oh, he's dead. All right, there we go. I've taken mine off.
I'll leave it at the back.
Our first story from Slash Film here is Comcast Sky halts all international drama productions until 2021. So this is quite big because obviously, everything's shut down. We've known that. Films are being delayed left, right, and center. But stuff is still coming out now. There's still highly produced shows coming out to Netflix, on television, HBO, all that stuff. There's also a new crop of shows, sort of like this, where people are doing it with phone calls and everything. But this is the first case, I think, of a television studio shutting down. And it brings us to the question of, when will we run out of dominoes to fall over? When will we run out of highly produced shows? And everything that is new will be stuff like what we're doing right now. It's the headline asks the question: could others follow suit? Most definitely, probably, right? Because things don't look like they're going to be better. Really, you can't do international things like this until there's a vaccine for the virus, in all likelihood. At least not at the scale that productions like Sky, Fox, they're used to. So it's pretty interesting, and I wonder how soon we'll see others follow suit with this.
Yeah, you and I both work in television, completely different sections of it, I guess. Well, obviously, live events and stuff have been cancelled, as you well know. I work in like we'll call it acquired content. But for anyone who doesn't know what that is, if they're watching, basically when you watch like old shows on TV, or you watch like, if say if you're in the UK and you watch like American TV shows, they have to have like gone through, they have to go through people, and so there's always like, that's what I work in. So there's always people who are able to, or broadcasters are able to acquire content from another territory that they might have a stakeholder in, or they might have a partnership within. So there'll be a lot of like Canadian or American TV shows that like maybe got aired somewhere in like, on like Men and Motors or something, that maybe a bigger channel will then just like, just stick it on there, and they'll come out and they'll pimp it up as like channel premiere, which I always quite like when like a film comes out somewhere and they're like, it's the channel premiere of The Matrix. And you're like, it's been everywhere. It's been on like ITV4 every weekend, or like, Jurassic Park 3.
It's been on a Casio watch. Like this point,
Yeah.
right?
The audiobook version's on a Talkboy, the pen. You just play it in your
What
ear,
were
like, yeah.
those terrible little Tiger Electronic handheld games? It was on one of those.
That would be even better because you just have like, oh, is that Morpheus? I guess he's a bigger character there. Yeah. So there's always going to be like acquired content that will help steady or balance the ship with these big broadcasters. I think. I see a lot of like American TV being brought over to the UK and into Europe and stuff. So.
Yeah.
There won't be too much of that. There's obviously broadcasters who are going to rely on older content, and especially in like these kind of like feel good kind of times that are needed by people. The kind of people who like don't criticize the government because we want to feel good about ourselves.
Yeah.
The British spirit, the Blitz, and all this shit, and they never lived through any of it. Come on. So what they'll do is like maybe broadcasters will be like, oh well, we've got the rights to Dad's Army, so let's just play that again. There'll be a way that these broadcasters will survive, but having these big production companies shut down and go on pause, there's going to be like channels who've set themselves up as like, we only show the new stuff, we only show like the newest comedies, the newest dramas, and then going to go, what the fuck do we plug the holes with?
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. Hopefully not too interesting to the point of. I have to start begging, but
Well,
interesting.
I mean, it makes a point, this article, about saying how it's like international programs. So like they point out shows like Britannia, which I've never heard of or seen, and a show called You. But those are shows that apparently they're very international based. There's a lot of location filming. But then they say there's that Mark Strong show, Temple, is an example of a series that's more manageable because it's very set based. So while they're shutting down international productions, they think like if it's the UK based productions will start first. If you're in America, things that are filming just in LA or Atlanta or wherever could potentially start up first, because that sort of leads us on to our next little headline here, is that Texas is moving into reopening. A lot of places in America are moving to reopening. I know like Georgia's reopening shops and things like that. A lot of the states are starting to reopen shops, and Texas is talking about opening movie theaters in some capacity this Friday, which strikes me as insane.
What are they going to show?
Well, yeah, I guess they'll go into the films that have already been released. Would they take some of those films that went maybe right to digital, and like something like The Invisible Man or something? Would they say, well, we have this? Or because I know when China briefly reopened their cinemas, they did it by digging into like big blockbuster films from the past, like The Avengers and things like that. I mean, that's a great question, because I didn't even comprehend that. What will they show?
But don't you think it's funny how, like, let's just take like the idea of like reopening a cinema and having nothing to play because you rely on a business of just being new,
Yeah.
and you also have these like channels like say like Sky Sports who'll be like, we'll do like a talk about football, but everyone's in their house. Like, okay, for one, the people who are in the house talking about sport were pretty much what people in esports were doing forever anyway, and then unless it was like the big events and stuff, and then. Oh, these cinemas who rely on new being like, oh, well, you know what, we'll just rely on older stuff. That's called a repertory cinema. And these two kind of things have poo-pooed both different fucking ways of production and stuff, or ways of exhibition. And now they're like, well, no, we'll show older films because people want to see that. It's like, you want to stay afloat. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And what becomes of it then when everything powers back up? Like, you've got places like the Prince Charles, or even like a little bit of Genesis, but mainly like people like Prince Charles, Regent Street, and stuff like that. Like these repertory cinemas that have built a business of showing these older films and showing films that have just come out of distribution. What becomes of them? It's kind of shocking that people would rush back to the cinema. And what are they going to show? Like, okay, that Trolls movie that came out, Trolls World Tour, like that was odds on. I think that did like the best in streaming the week it came out, in streaming sales, rental, and everything. but they will have wanted that to be in cinemas. And who is going to take their fucking kid to a cinema? Like, over here in Thailand, they've released a thing today being like, well, they didn't release it, but whatever. There's like a path to what should be that the country should be expected with opening. So it might be even by like Friday that like restaurants and bars might be open, but then it's like, in 2 weeks' time, it might be like hairdressers and department stores and malls and everything. But then, like, at the end of the spectrum, in red, in like fucking 8 weeks' time, is like cinemas.
I can't believe cinemas is last. I can't believe bars and restaurants, because like here, they've said pubs and restaurants will be one of the last things to open, because being able to social distance in a place like that. I mean, any of these places, right? You need to be able to social distance at the time, because you can't count on everybody showing up. Well, I mean, I think there's gonna be a lot more mandatory mask things soon, but you can't count on everybody showing up with the right level of preparation that's going to be required nowadays. And so, like, when cinemas open, how are they going to do this? Is there going to be a limited capacity? Like, this article here is saying, I'll bring it up again. It's saying in Texas on Friday, retail stores, restaurants, movie theaters, and malls, but they'll only be able to operate at a 25% capacity, which means, like, I remember when this was all first starting, and there were pictures from a few cinemas in some European countries that were roping off like 3 seats between every seat to give you social distancing like that. So, I mean, for someone who hates going into a crowded movie theater, it sounds great to leave it at 25% capacity for the rest of the time. But for the long run and for the businesses themselves, you're not going to be able to do that. And yeah, I mean, what do you show those movies that have come out, like Troll, Invisible Woman, and a few others? Like, the people who have wanted to see those have already paid for those. So, like...
Or not paid for it.
Yar, mateys! Yeah, now we're talking, aren't we?
Especially in the UK, there's been a massive spike in piracy over this period and stuff, because, people do want new stuff, and, like, you can only rely... Even, like, we've kind of sat down and just, like... I love going to the cinema pretty much like at least once a week. And every time we sit down, we're just like, now what do we watch? Because I'm not paying for Disney Plus, not in this lifetime or the next. So just being like, now what do we watch? What's Netflix got? And it's just like, oh, here's a dating show. I guess I'll watch that. It's hard to know where. I don't envy the people who've got to make these kind of decisions, and in fact, most of them, I hate them. But why would you open up a cinema first? Because there's nothing to, like, that's it essentially. There's nothing to show.
Yeah.
There's nothing to show, and if it's like if you wanted to watch The Invisible fucking Man or Trolls World Tour, you would have bought it or torrented it. So what's the point?
And most of the companies the production companies, the distributors, they've all made the choices to bump films already. And I would think even if there are films that are still like playing really close with a deadline to make a call, not a lot of those films are going to want to be out when only 25% of the audience can go. So, like,
that's a good point, man. That's a really good point. Like, why? Okay, so Bond's already kind of said what date it's going to release on and stuff, and later on, like, even if you've got a film ready to go, you're not going to then be like,
we changed our mind. Let's all of a sudden come out like this next week because one state is going to allow 25% of our audience that they would normally have in. Like, it. I think a lot of the production companies and stuff have made the right choice of coming out ahead of time and just being like, you know what, we're delaying it at least 6 months, and then hopefully those are the only delays that they have to do. I mean, I think there are still those films, maybe the middle-sized, smaller films that are sort of playing a game of chicken with the virus and like aren't changing their dates. But the more weeks this goes on, I mean, despite the fact that like America is gonna open up to get the country running again, they're going to have to shut it again just as fast when everything flares up in a few weeks' time.
It might be a case of, like, I mean, when, like, Sundance got cancelled, I remember we even spoke about it, like, how, like, the Prince Charles and cinemas like that picked up a few of these things that should have been exhibited in Sundance, and instead, like, oh, well, why don't you just show it here instead? And there was that kind of push towards that, and then obviously all the cinemas in the UK are closed. So, you know, maybe this is a chance for like distributors to be like, hey, you know what? We've got some of these films that we would have probably given like a screening somewhere, and then and then it can get on the fucking awards, and then we can just back off and just release it digitally. Maybe it's a chance for these like smaller independent things or smaller pictures to I keep saying pictures again. It's like
the moving pictures, you see.
Possessed by
you've
this
ever
old
taken
man
a
in my head.
snapshot, then you put 24, you run them in. It's a moving picture. This is going to be big. My name is Stanley.
Maybe it's a chance for them to get going. Everything's digital now, like projection. Okay, yeah, things are delivered, digitally and stuff. So maybe it's a chance to get some of these smaller films on screen. But in all likelihood, they're going to show fucking The Invisible Man. No one's going to go. No one's going to see it. Then everyone's going to get ill, and then America are back to square one. So let's just hope the UK continues to keep closed until a vaccine is there.
Yes. Well, let's go on to happier news, which is the fact of not things being cancelled and delayed, but things being announced and shown off, including a really random one. They've been waiting for ages to do something with this franchise, so let's go back to Slash Film and their aggressive advertising. We're Hellraiser. Hellraiser, they've made a lot of movies. They've been wanting to reboot the series for a while. I know it's one of those things where they made a couple of shitty straight-to-DVD videos just to keep the license, I think. And now they're finally going to be doing a Hellraiser TV series by David Gordon Green. So that is a sentence I never thought I would have heard. But I guess with David Gordon Green having now done Halloween and dipped into horror, it seems interesting. I was never a big fan of these films. I've never probably watched more than like the first one. I was always more for, I like the slasher stuff. I didn't like the mystical, Bondish fetish guys that he was here. But I don't know. It just struck me as a really out of nowhere bit of news to happen now, right? Like Hellraiser, okay, TV show, what? David Gordon Green, Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Like, okay, I don't give a fuck about Hellraiser. I'm the same as you. I saw the first one when I was a kid, and I was like, I don't care for this. I also find it kind of pathetic to keep going on this much and stuff like that. But TVs is fucking. I mean, nothing's gonna get made, but like right now, but like at least TVs is kind of there's a difference in being a TV show now to being a TV show 10 years ago, and there's so much more chance to tell like a story, an uninterrupted story, just because of like viewing habits and stuff, especially with like binge watching or whatever. And it feels weird to kind of on the one hand be excited when like Don Mancini, who does Child's Play and Chucky and everything, like on the one hand him being like, I'm gonna make a TV show of Chucky, and it's like, oh, I can't wait for that. And then it's like, I'm doing Hellraiser. And you're like, I don't care. I think I may have played as fucking the pincushion man in like a Tony Hawk's game, and that's the extent of me giving a shit.
Was he in a Tony Hawk's game?
Do you know what? Either he was, or I'm actually having a vision, like Raven Simone. Like maybe he's going to be. I believe I've played as him or something.
I mean, they used to get some pretty good guest characters in those games, so it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, maybe I created it in my head. Like maybe I've created it in the game. Maybe I played as like a Sims like skin that I downloaded, or it might have been the Sims skin. I downloaded once for like the Sims 1.
Yeah.
I downloaded like loads of fucking like different people, different actors and like wrestlers, and I'm like, and then Kane lives in our house with Lita, and I'm just like, so maybe it was in that. Maybe maybe that's my vision. But
I wish.
Good looks at him. I ain't gonna watch, but good looks at him.
I mean, I really did like his new version of Halloween, and I am looking forward to the sequel of that and everything. But yeah, it is a bit oddball. But hey, fans of the franchise, at least you don't have to watch any more like shitty straight to video releases. At least there'll probably be a budget, and the fact that it's going to HBO should mean that you can get away with a lot of crazy gore and nudity and leather and straps and all that. But
Yeah.
let's go to something that is coming out soon. They've released a trailer. I'm going to let you do this one, Adam, because this is something you're familiar with. What did Netflix show off today?
There's a Hellraiser. No, there's they put up a little trailer of Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. So it's going to be like a choose your own adventure, but for Kimmy Schmidt. So the trailer is like basically she. Did you ever watch Kimmy Schmidt?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Did you like 30 Rock?
I loved 30 Rock, yeah. But
This
I
is-
never watched 30 Rock religiously. It was always like, I'll grab that episode randomly,
Okay.
episode randomly. I need to, and I do want to give Kimmy Schmidt a try.
I definitely watch. I'd watch all the way through 30 Rock first, and then because you're left with this like hunger, and I just love that type of humor, and I love Kimmy Schmidt. I thought it was great. It started off as kind of its own thing, but yeah, by the end I just felt like this is just fucking 30 Rock. And there's a lot of good kind of crossover in the cast. So basically, yeah, they're doing the choose your own adventure that Netflix has done previously with that Black Mirror episode.
Yeah, Bandersnatch.
That's the one. Yeah. And so yeah, this one kind of like it seems that she discovers that there was another bunker, that she's getting married, and you kind of have to go with her on this journey that to sway decisions. Is she going to try and save this maybe bunker full of people, or is she going to get married and stuff? I'm interested in it. What did you make of the Black Mirror one?
I really liked it. I know it was sort of it split a lot of opinions. I thought it was one of the better things. I really praised the interactiveness of it. Like I thought it was just something new, and like I remember saying, I think of the podcast way back when, but like when me and Nicola watched it the first night, we like the first time up we finished it in like 10 minutes and obviously made some wrong choices, and then we went through the whole thing, like an hour and a half of it, and then right when we finished that hour and a half we did it again, making a few different choices. So like I mean it got its mileage out of it. It had the exact intended effect for me.
It's funny you said split it. I just didn't like it, and I think maybe it's the kind of maybe it's the show. It's show specific for me. I think like I like Black Mirror, but I wouldn't be like other people and hang my knob out at the sight of Charlie Brooker. So I don't know what that means. I don't. If I like a creator, my first instinct isn't to go like, oh, I love your work. Check
Let me
this out.
just take my dick out for a bit. Yeah.
No, but I love Kimmy Schmidt. So and also because like with comedy, like I'm sure you've done it as well. So say like something like It's Always Sunny. Mm-hmm. I love watching like the bloopers that they'll release at the end of like a series.
Yeah.
So with something like this, with comedy, I always feel like I'd happily go through, pick the decisions, whatever. But I'd probably be in the same position you were and just go back and make the different decision because I just want to see more. But what kind of film do you reckon? Here's a question for you. What kind of film do you reckon, or would you like to see have a kind of choose your own adventure element to it? Now, you don't have to be the original film. Maybe they'll do like a remake or something, or maybe if you could go back in a fucking time machine, you could go back and, have a version of that with the original cast. Is there anything you can think of?
It's tough because so obviously Bandersnatch was quite like a dramatic thing, and like there's this. I mean, the thing is, at the end of the day, you're telling a story that splits off into different paths. It's like a tree, different branches, all that. So it doesn't necessarily matter whether it's comedy, drama, like horror, whatever. But I think like a film. I can't pick a specific one at the minute, but like a horror genre is quite funny. I think you could do that quite well, because how many times when you're watching a movie like that, there's the girl running away and they trip or they go in the wrong door and you're like, what are you doing? Go in the other door. Like you literally scream at your TV, like, go in the other door. You're an idiot. If you deserve to die now. So I couldn't do a specific one. I mean, maybe you watch back on like the original Scream and be like, do this different decision. And imagine if they did a Scream now, and Scream would be the perfect actual franchise because it's so introspective of itself. It's so like it explores the world of horror movies and does things that you wouldn't expect. So imagine a choose your own adventure Scream, like a maybe not a reboot, but yeah, like a straight to Netflix Scream where it could be in its own universe, but you still have like the ghost face and all that sort of thing. I think something like that maybe could work.
I think you're completely right. As you were talking, I was like, horror, Scream, because it's so referential to like how, the especially the original fucking three, the original two, the original, no, Scream 2's class. Yeah, they're so like referential of like storytelling and like playing on stereotypes and character reveals, character motivations, and I think Scream would be a fucking really good one because you could just have it standalone. It doesn't have to have fucking Courtney Cox and fucking David Arquette just fucking doom 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 doom.
Walking with that limp that he's got for whatever reason in those films. I know there's a reason he gets stabbed at some point.
He gets stabbed in the first one.
Yeah.
I think our Scream would be a really good one. There's so many little decisions you can make, or even like not Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
Because it does have. But
don't fall asleep. Don't fall asleep. Don't fall asleep.
That would be good.
I think I'm gonna have a snooze right now.
Yeah, maybe there's maybe you could have it. So if it was like Nightmare on Elm Street, but you've only got like 3 chances to stay awake. So it builds up and builds up, and you just stay awake. It's like you've used one of them, and then it gets to the point you're just you're too drives.
It's a lot like. Did you ever play that or see that PlayStation game where it was the horror? It had a bunch of real actors, and it had I think it had Rami Malek in it. And what the hell? I played this game. What was it called? PS4 horror game. Now we're seeing some live Googling, everybody. This is incredible. Until Dawn was the name of the game. And Until Dawn was a choose your own adventure horror game. And I really liked it. And it was just so clever because you could go, you'd make this decision, that character would die. All of a sudden you're playing as another character. And it had the presentation of a film as well, because again, it had big actors. I think it had Hayden Panettiere in it.
It did, yeah. I only played the I think it was one of those free games on PlayStation. Yeah, I played it for a bit, but I was a bit in that mode where you're I just want to I just want to play something, and I didn't have really time. But it's so eerie. The setting is so eerie, and It does well to even though if it's wider shots and you're just walking around the kitchen or whatever, it's so it's spooky. That's a good one.
I think that this same company is now making a series of games like the same. So each one's a horror themed, based in a different genre of horror, where you make your own decisions. It's the same cast in each one, but you can also do it co-op. So you play with a friend and you can all vote on the decisions.
I like that.
So maybe we'll have to give that a try. That could be a fun Filmageddon.
That would be good.
Thing.
Yeah, there was that one that was a Way Out, which I don't know if you played. I played a little bit with Blair. I'm on it. And
hi Siri.
Welcome to the show. Yeah, there's the game which is A Way Out, and you play as 2 guys who go to a prison, or one's in prison. I don't know. It's a prison, and you have to work together to orchestrate a kind of a way out. But something like that would be really good. You made decisions in that game, and it was do you want to move the box? And you're no. And it's you decided to move the box anyway, which I kind of hate when it's something that's so strong narrative in these. That's the only downside, is that I see through it too much in my head that I'm would you like to stab yourself in the head or move down the path? And you're well, move down the path, or they stab themselves and they're you missed. Okay, I'll walk. I really don't like those. I like it when there's a lot more that's gone into it. So,
what
I don't know.
Film would you probably do potentially?
I think something like The Warriors, because it's such an iconic setting, and what I loved when I watched The Warriors originally is that the idea of there's so many different gangs, and you only see a portion of them in the film. Especially, I love when they come out from the subway and there's I can never remember the name of the different gangs, but they're those tramps, and they're just wearing green shirts and horrible jeans. And I don't know, I love when it flashes over, it flashes over the crowd. There's all these different ones. So I would have loved something like that where you can choose which way they go, or what station they get off. I guess a little bit like the game in a way, but the game was very.
Did you play the game?
I played the game once with my flatmate for maybe an entire day, and we played through everything, and we realized maybe 6 hours in, we were like, this is just the same fucking thing over and over. And it's just getting increasingly harder. And I don't think you get introduced to too many new gangs, and there's a kind of over-reliance on just like, you fought a person. But I don't know. I think something like that, where you could it expands on what's already there, so you wouldn't have to lose the original, or maybe you set it in the sort of Warriors universe. Maybe there's somebody else, another gang who are kind of on the run as well, and you'd kind of get to see these different, the baseball Furies. I think what they called. Was that what they were called?
Sure. Yeah, right there, Furies. Yeah.
Yeah. I think something like that, and it'd be interesting. That's mine. The Warriors. I would like to play a choose your own adventure version.
Yes. What about you people at home? Why don't you let us know which film or franchise that you'd want to make a choose your own adventure Netflix thing. Do it on the Twitter. Boom. At Filmageddon Quiz. That's where you do it. Or in the comment section of this video if it's up on YouTube at some point, which it will be. But let's move on, because there's another bit of news featuring our favorite little blue hedgehog.
What is it?
Sonic! I was really trying to think of something I could have said, but I painted myself into a corner with blue hedgehog.
There's a bluish hedgehog in Animal Crossing. She and her sister run this.
You're talking a foreign language to me now. You know what? I get Animal Crossing on here from you, and I get Animal Crossing now on Cardback Cafe with Jeff. It's just like, what are you guys talking about? You're getting turnips. You're going to islands. Please,
turnips. It's a
turnip. It's like a vegetable. It's like a
turnip.
A turnip. What are you calling it?
I thought you were calling it a turnip. I thought you were calling it a turn up. Like turn up for what?
We sort of do pronounce it like that, turnip.
And they're same as Swedes. I'm not going to get into this. I think I'm pretty stupid. Yeah, it's Miss Jeff, if you're out there, mate, just let me know if you've got a good price. I don't buy any, but anyway, yeah. Sonic,
yeah. So over on Collider, which has less aggressive advertising than Slash Film, they have said that a sequel announcement is likely after the shutdown ends, and I think we both said no duh. Because, hey, here's a shock for everybody out there, but Sonic is one of the highest grossing films in 2020. And that's a bit of info you might want to keep for yourself for a quiz in a few weeks' time. But, yeah, so the first Sonic Hedgehog that came out a few months back has made $306 million at the worldwide box office. That's very good. That's a fair amount of money for a film that got a lot of negative press before it even came out. So much so that it had to go and redo its CGI. So, yeah, I mean, it doesn't really come as a surprise that they were going to do a sequel. They teased a sequel quite a bit in the first one as well. I left the cinema before I saw the post-credit scene, and then I went online and watched it, and I thought the post-credit scene might have been the best thing from the whole movie. So I really taught myself a lesson. But Adam, are you excited to see where this franchise goes next?
Of course. I am excited as always. I treated Sonic, I should say, like a Venom film. I didn't give a shit if I wanted it to be really good or really awful. Just so I could just kind of watch the car crash. But it was all right, and it was not bad for what it was. And you know what? Fuck it. In a time when these companies are desperate to go like, oh, we've got a franchise. We spoke about it a little bit, sort of, I think on the podcast a week or two ago, where we were talking about like Men in Black International and how like they're just desperate to have like any kind of like thing to rival Marvel with, to go like, we'll release a film then, I'll show them. So yeah, I'm chuffed. Like, I think I'm the same as you. I kind of want to see more of this, even if it has to kind of not aim at maybe every age, old and young, maybe even if you have to kind of just skew it maybe a little towards like the younger side and just go into the world of like, his mates, fucking Knuckles and Sonic and everything, and Tails.
Longclaw, of course. How could we? I mean, Longclaw, R.I.P. too soon, but Maybe we'll get some flashbacks. I think we're all craving more Longclaw, which everyone remembers from the games.
Of course. And you know what? We've lost a lot of good people this year, but Longclaw, she's up there.
Literally, she's flying because she's a bird of some kind.
Yes, an angel bird. Now, do they get extra set of wings? Or do they use the ones that came with them?
I think
I don't know.
Longclaw's going to hell, if I'm honest.
Yeah. I don't think that one got any kind of extra attention when they redid all the graphics and stuff. Like, I really do think that's fucking the Legend of Gahoo.
What I want to see is show us what the original Tails looked like. Because you know they had to redo all that stuff, because now they all had the same design aesthetics with the big eyes and everything. So where's Tails with the human teeth and, like, weird fur hands?
I thought I'd read something where, like, Tails actually is the original Tails that they used.
Really? That's weird.
Because if that is the case, then why would they get... I'm either bullshitting or I'm having that fucking Hellraiser moment again where I think I've invented this. I'm in this house too much. That I think that they said that was the original one, which means that why would they make one that looks like it and not? By the way, that's in the end credits. Why?
Spoiler alert.
Why? Yeah, spoiler alert for the last film ever released in cinemas. Yeah, why would they make something that looks realistically like something in the game as opposed to a demon fox and not Sonic? No, I mean, listen,
because the echidnas as well, they had the big eyes and stuff as well.
Yeah, maybe you're right. I don't know what I was thinking.
I don't really care either. So
no, me neither. And I'm literally, it's aimed at me, and I don't give a shit.
Wait, who's the guy that directed it? Jeff Fowler. Release the Fowler cut. That's what we're saying. Hashtag release the Fowler cut. Let's get the version of this film. And this is a good way for Paramount to make some extra money. They could make a bit extra cash right now if they drop some money on a sequel, or not a sequel, just release it to Blu-ray or DVD, but put the Jeff Fowler version of this right onto it, because I think that's the best way. Like,
no, they've got to release it in cinemas. If you're going to reopen the cinemas, just release the original cut of Sonic the Hedgehog, and then it could make like $1 billion.
Yes, that's what you give it. That's what you let the Texas theater owners do. Release
they deserve
the
it.
Jeff Fowler cut. Give us the terrifying CGI. Let people choose. This is the choose your own adventure we've been talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Choose your own Sonic adventure.
Yeah. Oh, don't start me. That'd be great. And at least then, when it comes to the Academy Awards, sort of the start of next year, Sonic could be nominated twice for like best visual effects, scariest. There's no fucking award for scariest visual effects this year. Go to Jeff Daniels' herpes.
Well, at this rate, Sonic's going to be nominated for about 4 categories: best film, best foreign language release, best animated film, best short film. There's just not a lot of competition out there anymore.
Oh, long live the who could have foreseen this except World Health Organization officials who predicted it.
Well, you know what? There's something I don't think either of us foresaw, and I don't think a lot of people foresaw when this news hit the internet. But ladies and gentlemen, a Seth Rogen pickle movie is heading to HBO Max, and this comes from our friends over at Collider. Again, they're not our friends. We don't know who they are, but you have to say
they want to be.
Hey,
they could be our friends.
There's all the details. Get in touch with us. We'll do this show for Collider if you want.
Hey, listen, if you want, we never punch down.
No, we only punch up.
Unlike some individuals.
Yeah.
If you message
Adam, I didn't know anything about a pickle movie starring Seth Rogen, and I think just like you, when I saw the headlines, I thought it had to be a joke, like a Funny or Die thing or something. But this is an actual movie that is actually coming out, and I don't know what to make of it.
No, it seems the synopsis, if I remember, is that like he's a guy from like whatever.
He's from the 1920s. He immigrates to America.
Those ancient times, like people were born in the 1920s. Like
we're in the 20s right now.
Yeah. So he comes from there, and he basically falls into he gets pickled.
He gets pickled.
Pickled, and he wakes up in fucking modern day, 100 years later.
He's been brined for 100 years, and the brine preserves him perfectly. Where he emerges in present-day Brooklyn. He hasn't aged because he's been brinded. He's pickled. And he meets his great-grandson, who Rogen will also play, who is a mild-mannered computer coder. And they can't...
Does he just,
It's the
odd
couple.
Does he just decide... Yeah, it's the odd couple, yeah.
It's a pickle movie. This is... They could have... I understand, They like to try high-concept comedies a lot of the time. Seth Rogen's been in a lot of high-concept comedies. This is so lowbrow high-concept that it's I don't know where my brain goes. I think strip away the whole... take the pickle idea out of it. If this was a guy got frozen, cryogenically frozen for 100 years, it's an easy sell. But it's called an American pickle, and he gets pickled. Because our brains can comprehend Walt Disney's frozen head being stored to be brought back eventually. We can't comprehend somebody being pickled for 100 years.
But do you not think it's weird that we're kind of giving it already? We're kind of like, oh, it sounds interesting.
Yeah.
But we're ignoring the fact that he's playing two characters who are going to be on screen. If this was a Wayne Brothers thing, then everyone would be like, oh, it's shit, they're doing it again. Here they go again. It's Sextuplets 2. But he's doing it, and it's going to be good. It probably will be. I mean, I don't think the problem with the Wayne's comedy anymore is the fact that they're playing a lot of the same. Damon Wayans is playing. Oh, I think it's Damon Wayans. One of the brothers is playing all of them. Marlon Wayans is the one. Damon Wayans is fucking. He's not in it anymore. He's a producer. It is. Are we just giving it a free pass because it's it's Seth Rogen? But if it was somebody else, we might be like, oh, that's just a shitty idea. But I don't know. I've enjoyed his stuff apart from Sausage Party, so
Well, Sausage Party's the thing that jumped to my head the instant they said he was in a pickle movie.
That's true. He's in a sausage movie, a pickle movie. He's going for all of the thing. Sometimes he has rather large buns, so that's another thing that's kind of food wise super bad if you leave a pickle out for too long or ham.
I think the other big thing about this headline isn't the film itself. It's the fact that Sony, who's made the movie, sort of offloaded it to HBO Max. So they made the film. It was probably it's probably got a medium-sized budget, thinking probably quite rightly that they would never make a decent amount of money in the box office. Now they've just decided, you buy this HBO Max because you want original content, so you can have this. A lot like how Netflix snaps up those lower budget films sometimes and then calls it a Netflix original. Now this is going to be an HBO Max original produced by Sony. So it should be, I don't know, look forward to it, I guess. I don't know when it comes out.
Never.
It's going to come out while we're locked down, and we don't get HBO Max over here, so it'll be down to the stormy seas for I.
But then, in the UK, maybe, I don't know, it'd be interesting to see if...
Imagine it comes out to cinemas. When the cinemas open, it's the opening release is an American pickle movie.
And Sonic, and you have to make it again. You have to
Sonic,
choose.
The Jeff Fowler cut of Sonic and an American pickle movie for your box office dollars, and putting your health at risk as well to go see it.
That's another thing. If you just, even if the cinema's open tomorrow, would I be rushing to the cinema? No. I'll wait a bit. I don't mind waiting.
I saw a poll online somewhere that it was basically if cinemas open tomorrow, would you what would you do? And the first choice was I'd be there the first day. I'd be there the first weekend. I'd wait to see how it goes, or I'd steer clear. And I'd be there opening weekend had the highest thing, and I was just people are stupid. Some people deserve to be sick, I think.
Yeah, that's worrying. Yeah. And completely expected.
And if anything, it will give me a reason to avoid crowded cinemas. A better reason than just social awkwardness and the fact that I don't like rubbing my elbows against somebody. Now, it should be against the law to rub elbows with somebody.
Yeah, how close do you sit to people? Are you sure you're going to a cinema, or are you just talking about benches and stuff?
Yeah, benches as well. But some cinemas have really small armrests, and then you've got to decide: do you get there first Like, here's a game that I've played before where I tend to go with somebody, whether it's a friend or with my girlfriend or whatever. And so you've got normally one armrest to join you and the person you're with, and then one that's hopefully not next to somebody. But if that one's not next to somebody, do you claim it? And then do you...
Yeah, fine.
But then what happens when somebody comes up? Is this like an airplane scenario? Because it's like, who gets that armrest? You can't share it with a stranger.
You can share with a stranger. If one of you go a little bit to the back, like I'll go to the back, and then they can go to the front.
Oh, no. Too close. I'd rather have my arm like...
I'm not holding hands. I'm not drinking out the fucking... Oh, you finished with that?
This is how I would sit. And I'd begrudgingly just be like a little, like, Theodore Rex having my sodas and stuff. Like,
Oh, yeah, and you end up drinking, like, just little T-Rex. But wait, why are you doing... Surely if you're sat with your girlfriend here, or a friend, you can kind of chill a little bit.
Yeah. Well,
maybe just have an arm up. I like doing that sometimes at the cinema, like this.
I've never done that in a cinema. That is... You're insane.
I think when we went to watch Sonic, there was actually no... Maybe it wasn't Sonic. Whatever the last film was I went to the cinema to see, we went to, like, this kind of posh cinema here, and it was Birds of Prey, and nobody was there, and it was class. Just sat in a fucking couch seat, nobody was there, and I was like, for ages, I was just sat like stretching around. I was like, this is class. I can get up and walk around for once.
One of the last films that I went to the cinema for was Sonic, and it was me and Blair, and we were the only people in it, and it was very depressing because Blair had gotten there early. And he had his foot in the cast, or in the moon boot at the time. So I got in, and the woman in the lobby, because it was like a 2-story thing, and Blair was upstairs. The woman in the lobby was like, "You here to see Sonic?" "Yeah." It's like, "Your friend's upstairs." I was like, "Oh, okay." I felt so...
Whoa.
I felt really, really sad at what happened there. It didn't feel the best. But anyway... I digress. Let's move on, because there's one more thing we want to get to today, and that is, of course, the fact that Disney now owns hashtags, Adam. So here we go. Got it up on the old phone, technology being what it is. So Disney tweeted out yesterday, "Celebrate the saga. Reply with your favorite hashtag Star Wars memory, and you may see it somewhere special on hashtag May the 4th. That sounds quite nice. What I can't wait to see that. Oh, wait, let's see the reply. "By sharing your message with us using hashtag May the 4th, you agree to our use of the message and your account name in all media, and our terms of use are here. DisneyTermsOfUse.com. That did not go over so well with the internet. And rightfully so.
I think there's two camps, and it's a lot like anything that does with, like, Disney. Fucking hell. Whoa.
That's what they should change their name to.
Whoa.
Oh boy, invest.
With Disney, you get a lot of people who don't give a shit, and then you get, like, the apologists. And when you realize that you're kind of shilling for, like, one of the largest corporations in the world, like a corporation that runs so much media that, like, they can sway decisions if they feel like it, if they choose to. And instead, when people are just like, "Woo, Rise of Skywalker out soon on fucking Disney Plus, yippee!" Fucking sad. It's sad. What Disney are doing are just pathetic. I hate them the most, if I'm honest. Unless I'm being paid. The thing is, I like their stuff. Like, if you just, like, look at films without any kind of history or anything like that, or how they essentially just bully other productions and stuff, that, like, the content's good. Usually there's a mark of quality to it. But yeah, just for what they're doing with this hashtag shit it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Did you ever play that game where, like, because they're talking about using it in whatever they want. Did you ever play that game where you take your Twitter and you type it into Google and go to the news section?
I tried this because I saw this pop up on my timeline the other day, and I had no impact on the news whatsoever.
Well, I did it for Filmageddon. We didn't have anything. We did get quoted once on, like, a review for, I think it was The Endless.
That's nice.
But I did it for Filmageddon. Didn't find anything. Did it for yourself. Did it for other members of the team like Luke.
Yeah.
Did it for friends like Leif. Did it for Blair. And he was used in like a San Diego Union Tribune or something. And it was like, it was a joke that he did about Andy Kaufman being alive or being on the moon or something. And I messaged him saying, like, did you know about this? He's like, yeah, they asked me. They asked me if my tweet could be used. But for Disney to just be like, oh, we'll just take it.
Yeah.
And now we own that. And also the display picture you put up, that's ours too. We can use that if we want to. Or because you wrote May the 4th.
It's a hashtag. They don't. How can you own a hashtag like that? So we've gone from like NDAs and like contracts being like these like 30-page things to just being like, well, if you put the hashtag May the 4th, which people have used for years now, if you use that hashtag, we get everything in that tweet and we don't have to ask you. So it's so fucking it's like beyond like corporate like greed in a sense. Like I'd say greed, but like they're not probably making any money from it. But the audacity of Disney to sort of just assume that people aren't going to sort of flag this up and be like, oh hey, that's pretty terrible, isn't it? I mean, it's not the best, is it?
No, and if you want to send Disney little tweets, if you want to go like, "Woo, here's me and my lightsaber. I got it for £500, which is rent for some people." And, "Woo, here's a picture of me waving it round. Good for you. That's fine. Do what you want. Send them all your fucking praise. That's good. You enjoy it, fine." But to take something that they didn't fucking make up and then go, "Yeah, we own that now." It's like, yeah, I know you're used to doing that with every single other thing, land, fucking other properties, but you can't fucking do that here. The only time I had my tweet got used was in The Scotsman, I believe. I looked it up, and it was a review of like Celtic had done like a Christmas video, and I'd replied with something like, "This is the best thing ever," just because it was so bad. And they were like, "Fans are reacting." I was like, "Am I?"
You are a fan, and you have reacted.
We went there. We went to watch them once.
We did back when you could go outside.
Yeah.
But it must be said, Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland. Great. I'll give you all the money you want for that blue milk. Yeah, there you
go. May the 4th be with you. Do what you know. What, show this to anyone you want, Disney. If that's the case.
People have been having fun. I wish I took the time to compile a load of people's replies, but I'll just go to this one here that I found on Newsweek, which was quite good. By sharing May the 4th, you agree to our terms. And this person just put, sure, my favorite part of hashtag May the 4th is when Disney blacklisted the LA Times from film reviews because it wrote about their shady theme park practices. There are a lot of similar things in that vein. And hey, if you're trying to have a bit of fun, just put hashtag May the 4th and then let your fingers go wild on the keyboard, I guess.
I believe May the 4th may be a very good day for Filmageddon.
Yes. All right. Well, that is the news for today. So for today, that has been the news. Okay, as you can tell, we don't have to run around scrambling to get the masks again.
No.
This is a look right here. This is quite interesting. It's like a luchador, almost. Hello.
That is that.
I am El Chiquiondo.
El Chicon.
No, Los Polos. El Polos.
Oh, there you go.
I am the chickens. So that is Plucked from the Headlines for this week. There's not much else for today, apart from, reminding everybody that there is the film quiz tomorrow. We're starting at 8 p.m. as opposed to 7 p.m. We put a poll up. It was as close of a poll as it could have been, really. I was shocked. I was shocked at all the votes and then how close it was. We went against what the winning vote was, though, because there were 3 categories, so use the average of the 3 categories to give the late timers a shot. We're going with 8 p.m. Hopefully it doesn't piss off too many people. Hopefully a lot of you guys are able to still take part. Oh, Adam. You can sleep. It's fine. We can moderate the chat. We'll handle it. Yeah, so that starts, and we'll be back probably the day after that with another vodcast looking at the scores, seeing who won, all that good stuff. And then at the weekend, like I said, maybe some more retro gaming. I hope so, with a better game, a game that I could actually feel like I could progress in, because I couldn't comprehend what that game was. Like, there is no way to advance in that game. There's no progression. I just felt like I was, like, spinning around in a circle for an hour, and that's exactly what I did do in that game. So,
Yeah.
something where there's like, you have beaten level 1, now you are on level 2 would be nice. You know what I went after playing that Jurassic Park game? Do you know what movie I watched that evening?
Jurassic Park?
Yes, but Jurassic Park 3, because I really hate myself. And I realized that film is the worst in that franchise. It's very close with that and Fallen Kingdom.
No, Fallen Kingdom's worse.
You know what? I was right after I saw Fallen Kingdom. I'd be right there with you. But watch Jurassic Park 3 again. It's terrible. The acting, the special effects, the weird misplaced humor. There's no story. Everything just goes from action scene to action scene. The little kid. I mean, these are all things we've known about for like almost 20 years, but I had fonder memories of it. I remember my only complaint about Jurassic Park 3, not only complaint, but the big one used to be like, it ends so suddenly. It's really random, but I liked, the Spinosaur was cool. Oh yeah, Alan Grant's there. It's terrible. No, none of it's good. There's poop jokes. I mean, what are the people, what's William H. Macy doing there? What's Taya Leone doing there? Who's that Billy guy? I don't like it.
It's not good. I remember being a kid, and it came out probably around about my sister's.
I think he was going to say birthday, and I also remember being a kid and seeing it in the
Jurassic
cinema.
Park 3.
Oh, hey, wait, you're back. Hang on, 2 seconds.
Yeah.
It was around your sister's birthday. Go.
Okay, I'll set the scene.
Yeah.
It was a spooky night around my sister's birthday. Basically you got to pick the film when we were kids if it was your birthday, and I'm pretty sure I was like, "Hey, you should watch Jurassic Park 3." And she was like, she was a child, a younger one than I, and I just made her watch it. Made us all watch it, and it was awful. I even think I knew as a kid it was bad.
You should feel terrible for that, really.
She's got over it.
Well,
I've not.
This is how much I got really excited for it, and I always make sure to document some of the best parts of the film, including... I mean,
yes.
It doesn't have any volume at the minute, but obviously we all remember, this is the jumping the shark of the Jurassic Park franchise.
This is the best bit.
So that's about like 10 minutes into that film. That is when that franchise officially died. That's when it went extinct. I know a lot of people don't like The Lost World. I personally love The Lost World. I think it's right up there with the original. But from that moment apart, because up till then, you're like, oh, Alan Grant's back. Oh, wait, there's Laura Dern. She's there. This could be good. There's going to be dinosaurs. And then they're like, okay, he's having a dream. A raptor is talking. Plus, it's a raptor that he's never even seen before.
Exactly. I was going to say the same thing. It fucked me off. Like, even when it came up as a kid, I was like, what's that? Oh.
Yeah. Huh? If they just took one of the originals for that bit, that would have made sense. Why did they change? That's the color schemes of all the dinosaurs. They all look like, like back in like the 90s when you're a kid, everything had to be like these fluorescent colors to sell toys. That they felt like toy versions of what the first movie did.
And that's that's eventually what Jurassic Park turned into. They were like, can we combine this property with Street Sharks? They need to be bright.
Yeah. I mean, why? They're making a third one, and I'll go see it, even though I hated the last one. That's the worst part. Anyway, that little rant notwithstanding, Adam, it's been a pleasure, as always. Episode 9 of the Vodcast. It feels like just yesterday when we started these, and the Filmageddon train keeps rolling, and so does Lockdown. So thank you very much for joining me, as always, and I'll see you again in a couple days' time.
Yeah, it's going to be a long week. But you know what? Keep your head up. And if you can't, go to sleep.
There you go, everybody. All right, so from me, Frank, from him, Adam, thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and we will see you at the film quiz tomorrow night.